If SWVL took passengers, it cut into that income stream. So matatu people watched closely and sometimes they resisted change. SWVL had regulatory run-ins. In 2019, there were pause orders and NTSA, Kenya's transport body, it questioned how these new buses fit the rules. Some routes got suspended, then approvals were negotiated. SWVL eventually got things sorted with NTSA and resumed operations. But the back and forth showed that startup speed collides with government red tape. You can't scale a bus fleet smoothly without working with regulators. And early on, SWVL learned that the hard way. Backed by VC cash, SWVL went big. In 2021, they announced a merger with an SPAC, Queen's Gambit, that would list them on Nasdaq, valuing the company close to 1.5 billion shillings in the headlines. That SPAC deal was supposed to give them hundreds of millions to expand faster. IPOs add pressure. New public investors expect growth and fast. That's exciting if you can grow profitably, but it's dangerous if you burn cash. Again, let me explain unit economics. Unit economics is like asking, for every person you carry, do you make or lose money? If each ride costs you more, there's the drivers, buses, fuel, maintenance. If all that is more than the fare, growth is just a fancy spending. After going public, things soured. SWVL announced large layoffs in May 2022, cutting about 32% of its workforce. Then a few months later, they paused the daily and travel services in Nairobi. This was in June 2022. The public reason was a global economic downturn and cost pressure. The company had grown fast with heavy spending. There was the marketing, fleet leases, on the ground ops, and when macro conditions tightened, the model showed cracks. There were still extra hits. There were more layoffs later in 2022. There were cancelled acquisitions and portfolio retrenchments as SWVL tried to cut costs and stay afloat. The stock price crashed. Investor patience faded. The ambitious valuation evaporated. Lots of startups learned the same brutal lesson. Scale without profits is fragile. This is why the math failed. Think of SWVL like renting buses, paying drivers, cleaning, fueling, and also paying a tech team to build the app. If fares shrink or riders disappear, hello COVID and remote work, the fixed costs still burn. That's why an asset-heavy or asset-dependent expansion can choke when revenue drops. In Kenya, SWVL paused the consumer services in June 2022. That's when the daily and travel was stopped, but corporate services lingered. Some reporting says the company effectively seized inter- and intra-city consumer operations in Kenya, keeping only the B2B or corporate offer. In plain words, the part that the public used to ride on was paused. The bit selling shuttle solutions to companies, that one tried to survive. Later filings and company moves show that SWVL restructured globally and reconsidered its consumer play in many markets.